Welcome to Whatif tutorials. In this tutorial we'll be dealing with product quotes setup, namely of the master files and customers and defaults. From the product quotes menu, select master files, then select market types. Market types, as the name suggests, are the different types of markets to which your customers belong, and this is used for analysis of quotes to see where your business is coming from in terms of the market to address. The code is 10 digits and the description is 35 characters. Okay. Next we'll go to referral types. These are the types of referral method that have been employed or that customers have employed to find you and then subsequently request a quote. So once again, this is used for analysis purposes to determine where to put your marketing effort in terms of advertising and so on. These are 10-digit codes and 35 character descriptions. Next we have shipping methods. These are the methods of shipping your product to your customers, and these are important for you in terms of analysing your freight costs and ways and means of better delivering products to customers. This is simply a description up to 35 characters. Next master file is states. State and country, both 20 characters each. These are states, can be regions or whatever you require within the country. Next, postcodes for cities or suburbs, their name, their state, their postcode or zip code, and the country. Simply to add one, enter the city or suburb and then the postcode. I'll delete that now though. Delete this address. Okay, yes. Alright, next one, salespersons. Now salespersons are very important because they are your conduit with your customer, and their name will appear for reference purposes on the quote. And also the analysis of quotes is most important by salesperson. Once again, a 10-digit code and a 35 character description. Next is discount groups. Discount groups, as the name suggests, are different groups which attract different discount from your gross or list price, so that people belonging to or customers belonging to certain groups will maybe of necessity attract a certain discount group, a discount percentage. Once again, a 10-digit character code and a 35-digit character description. This brings us to customers. Customers are listed here. Customer code, 10 digits. Customer name, 35. Then the salesperson assigned to that customer, the state, the market type, discount group and discount, shipping method and terms. So let's create a customer now to illustrate how that happens. Click New, put in a code. Okay, now what we see here are the defaults that have been created for new customers. In other words, instead of having to select these every time, we ask the system to pre-enter the ones that we want to be as defaults. However, if those defaults are not appropriate, you simply reselect here, for example, salesperson, here, market type, there, and so on. Customer ABN, is optional. Credit limit is for information purposes only. The shipping method, the default. The terms, we have 6 types of terms. You see them there with their abbreviations. If we use this one here, this is in a given number of days after the end of month. We are saying that we can enter a discount for early payment, and that might be 5. Where's the delete? There it is. Sorry about that. 5%. The number of days net, that's when the payment is due without any discount. The number of days when the discount is available, up to 5 days. And then the discount text, or excuse me, the terms text is shown at the bottom. If we say, OK, now we've created the customer, we now have to enter an address. OK, first of all, we want to enter a bill address. So we put in, well, this takes up the customer name we've previously entered. We put in the billing address. And we can select the suburb. So there it is there. Previously created, so it brings in the state, the postcode and the country. Then we enter the contact details, 2 phone numbers, fax, email, and contact name, and a greeting. So now we have completed the customer creation with the bill address. If we need to create another address, we simply point to the customer, click edit, click addresses, new address, and this might be a delivery address. So we go delivery address, and it might be something different from the bill address. Might have some different details down here, but we won't bother with that at the moment. So we've got 2 addresses for this customer. You can have any number of addresses you want. Usually only 1 billing address, but maybe several delivery addresses. So now we've created the customer. As mentioned earlier, there are defaults for the customers which can be entered here, and then these are used for the next customer to be created. So that completes our customers. Now, once we've created the master files, there's another lot of defaults here that should be created before proceeding with the quote. They're printing layout defaults and other defaults. Printing layout defaults, we're not dealing with it in this tutorial, but we will deal with other defaults. Now, these defaults are required before you can create a quote. You have a default factory because you may have several factories from which you are receiving or creating quotes. The first option here is whether or not to print dimensions. Products have dimensions or may have dimensions, and if they do, you may decide you want them printed as a separate line on the quote. Yes or no. Long description. Every item in the item master file has a long description, and once again you have the option as a default here to include it on the product quote. Yes or no. These can be changed, of course, when you create the quote. They're just defaults. Freight GST applicable, yes or no. That is GST applicable to freight? And next is the quote lead time. That is the standard lead time from placing a quote order to delivery. And next is the quote lapse time. That is the time after which the quote is said to have lapsed. This is usually, or should be, a fairly large period of time, obviously, otherwise we might be shutting the gate too early. Okay, next one is footer remarks. Each quote has a header, a body and a footer, and on the footer you can have various quotes or remarks that or information that you want to put there. you can create any number of particular sets of information. For example, this one here, this is the footer. It's got information that you want to appear at the foot. This is another one, and so on. You can create these, or you can edit them. And now all we're doing is selecting one to be the default. Apart from footer remarks, we have also referral source. We looked at the referral sources in the item masters, in the quote master files. Now we're now saying which one will be the default. Of course, it will be changed as necessary on the quote. Next, we have a standard attachment comment. Attachments are separate attachments to a quote, and they can include text and a picture or both. And these have the text part of it you can set here as a default. So just as we had remarks, you can have text like this and set that as a default to appear on an attachment. So this would apply where you had a standard attachment with all sorts of information on it that doesn't fit on the quote itself, but it goes as an attachment. Finally, we have the option here to set the number of decimals in quote items. None, 1, 2, or 3. In most cases, you would expect there to be no decimals, but it's good to set it at 1, because if something is a whole number in the quote, it will not be given a 0 decimal, it'll just appear as an integer. So having 1 decimal then will cover the odd circumstance maybe where you do require a decimal. Save those. So we've just saved the defaults for the quotes, and having created the master files and set the defaults, we're now ready to start entering quotes. But that's the end of this tutorial.